Aquatic reserves are marine or freshwater areas that have been set aside by Washington Department of Natural Resources to conserve and protect native habitats and natural processes on state-owned aquatic lands. The Aquatic Reserves Program, who manages these areas with a mission to bring together partners in stewardship and study of these exceptional places, has come up with a new way to encourage folks to explore their local aquatic reserve while also collecting data for the Aquatic Reserves Program, the Aquatic Reserves Biodiversity Project. This spring and summer, the Aquatic Reserves Program is launching a pilot project and asking for help from Citizen Stewardship Committee members to test this new community science opportunity and provide feedback before we launch a set of permanent projects for each aquatic reserve in 2023. The goals of this project will be to engage people in getting to know their shorelines and to collect biodiversity data on a scale not possible by our small staff alone. This video is meant to give CSC members an overview of the pilot project and to show you how to jump in and get started. As you know, the Aquatic Reserves Program is a small team, and the aquatic reserves are spread over a very large geographical area. The marine aquatic reserves span the southern Salish Sea from the Canadian border down to the southern end of Puget Sound, and in the foothills of the Cascades, Lake Kapowsin offers a unique freshwater experience. We spend a lot of time as a team hustling around to study and protect these important places, but we can't do it without you. The communities surrounding these reserves are an essential part of ensuring that these special places thrive, and this project is meant to kind of harness the time you already spend walking the beach and give you the opportunity to collect data while you're out there exploring. This pilot project will take place on all aquatic reserves, and it requires just that you download an app on your phone and that you use that app to upload any photos of plants, kelp, or animals that you may see while exploring aquatic reserves. Data collected in this way will help inform management plan species lists and will increase our knowledge of aquatic reserve biodiversity. You can choose to explore the aquatic reserve you're most familiar with, or you can plan a day trip to explore one you've never seen before. The pilot project will run from May through September, so there's time to explore multiple reserves if you'd like. While we want to encourage folks to get outside and enjoy the reserves, we also understand that while some intertidal animals like the ochre star on the left can be super easy to identify, other animals like the sponge on the right can be nearly impossible to identify in the field, making it a little intimidating to know how to start. Sometimes species can be hard to identify because while they may all look exactly the same to you, they are in fact all different species, like these tricky red algae. On the other hand, animals like the moonglow anemone have such a variety of color and pattern that it might be difficult to tell that they're all the same species. Luckily, you don't have to memorize thousands of species to help document diversity in the aquatic reserves or to head out and start learning those species. iNaturalist is a fantastic free tool that connects you to other naturalists who can help you identify the organisms in the photos that you take. iNaturalist is both an app you can use on your phone and it's a website you can use on your computer. The app provides an easy way to upload observations while walking the beach and is all you really need to participate in the Aquatic Reserves Biodiversity Project. The website has greater functionality and is a fantastic learning tool if you do want to dig deeper into learning about what you're seeing on the beaches from the comfort of your own home, but it's not needed in order to help out with this project. Here I'm going to give you a brief overview of how to use the app to gather data for our project, and to get started, you may want to pause this video to download the app on your phone and create a profile. In the next few slides, I'll walk you through how to use the app, so you should be able to hit the ground running as soon as the pilot project starts. Alright, this slide has a lot of information, so please feel free to pause the video or rewind to watch it again if you want to slow things down a little bit. Shown here are just some screenshots of what iNaturalist will look like on your phone as you go through the process of making an observation. I'm going to walk you through these steps one by one. The first step of recording an observation is to open up the app and to choose the Observe button in the center bottom of your screen. Once you do that, a small pop-up screen opens that offers you options for uploading photos. For our project, I encourage you to use the middle two options, which are either the camera button, which allows you to upload a photo in real time as you take it. This is for when you're on a reserve and you want to upload an observation immediately. There's also an option to choose a photo from your photo library that you've already taken in the past. And this is a helpful option for when you're exploring places where you might not have phone service and you can't upload a photo immediately. This button lets you choose photos you took previously with your phone camera. Then, once you have your photos chosen, and you can take more than one photo of an organism for each observation, step 3 is to double check the date, the time, and the location, and then to also try to identify what you saw as best you can. And while this last step can be the most intimidating part of the process, this is also where iNaturalist comes in really handy. And you may have the knowledge to identify and type in the name of the critter that you have found in the "What did you see" box. But if you have just absolutely no idea what you're looking at, that's where iNaturalist is super helpful and will pop up a screen that offers you suggestions on what you can choose from whatever level of ID you're comfortable with. And then once you've chosen an ID or what you think is an ID for that animal or plant or kelp, the final step is to click Share, Submit, and to upload your observation. And that's it. As long as you took your photo inside an aquatic reserve and have the correct date and location noted, your observation is then automatically added to the Aquatic Reserves Biodiversity Project pilot. All right, and then once your observation has been uploaded, this is what it will look like on the app on the left or on the website on the right. Once your photo is uploaded, a global community of naturalists is then able to see your observation and help either confirm your identification or help you figure out what the heck you're looking at in the first place. And although this pilot project won't start until May 1st, the website where the observations will be collected is already live. And here's what the project looks like on the iNaturalist website. The URL is at the top of the screen and should also be in the email that is sent out to CSC members. And I encourage you to explore this website. Read the Read More section and take a look at the journal entry for tips on getting started. If you check back in May, once the project has started, you'll be able to see the observations that people are making. One thing to note here is that once observations start to roll in, all observations from all aquatic reserves will be seen in one place here in this project. That's just for the pilot project, though. For the permanent projects, each aquatic reserve will have its own separate project, which allows us to more easily separate observations by reserve. Another thing I'd like to highlight before I wrap this up is that although the Aquatic Reserves Program is asking you to help us with this specific community science effort to help our program document biodiversity on aquatic reserves, iNaturalist is a global database that is increasingly being used to inform research. Every observation that you add to this database informs patterns through time and space. So while your observations for this particular project will be very useful to our program, they may also be useful in other ways to other researchers. For example, some species that use aquatic reserves, like the great egret, are expected to see their range shift due to climate change, and the timing of their migration may also shift. Kelp, like this bull kelp, requires cool, nutrient-rich water to grow. South Puget Sound has already seen the disappearance of some of its kelp forests. While bull kelp has declined in some areas, other species, like jellies, tend to thrive near humans, and overfishing, climate change, and pollution may cause populations to actually increase in the coming years. Tufted puffins are a Washington state endangered species, and keeping an eye on this species and other seabirds could be helpful in tracking seabird trends. Sunflower stars have not yet fully recovered from a massive die-off along the entire Pacific coast caused by sea star wasting syndrome. This is still a very active area of research, and photos of this and other sea star species can be used to detect signs of disease. Some aquatic reserves have great pocket beaches and mudflats that are preferred habitat by the invasive European green crab. Early detection of this species is important to prevent its establishment in those reserves. Eelgrass is a habitat-forming species that has seen some localized impact from multiple stressors in the Salar Sea, and its condition and extent are important to monitor. And mussels and barnacles were some of the most vulnerable organisms during the 2021 heat dome event, and tracking their survival in the face of future marine heat waves could also be very informative. All right, so this pilot project will go live on May 1st and will take place throughout the entire summer, ending at the end of September. You can add observations at any time during that time period. Some of you have been using iNaturalist for years and might already have some great ideas for other uses of iNaturalist in aquatic reserves, while some of you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the thought of learning a new tool. The reason we're launching this pilot project and running it over a 5-month period is to allow enough time for each of you to either explore this platform if you're new to it, or if you're a pro, think of ways to use it creatively on aquatic reserves. So in summary, to help the Aquatic Reserves Program document biodiversity on aquatic reserves, we're launching the Aquatic Reserves Biodiversity Pilot Project that will be taking place on all aquatic reserves from May through September of this year. We're asking for the help of Citizen Stewardship Committee members and local beach walkers in testing this pilot project, and your input this year will help us improve the project before the launch of the permanent projects in 2023. And we'll be spending some of the fall all-hands meeting chatting about possibilities and changes that we can make before we launch those permanent projects. If you want help navigating iNaturalist, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is here on this slide. I'm more than happy to help. I have been having a lot of fun getting used to iNaturalist myself lately, so I feel more than comfortable helping anybody who needs it. You can also find more information on the project website that is also listed right here on this slide. And that's all. Happy exploring, and get a hold of me if you need any help.